Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to action figures and everything in between. My name is Aiden, and I hope that you're doing well today. So in this video, I'm going to do something a bit special. So at the time of recording, it is January of 2026. My birthday is in November, so at the time of recording now, it's been a couple of months since my 26th birthday, and I got a gift from my mother that was a DC Direct by McFarlane Toys action figure of Green Lantern Guy Gardner, and I want to do a review of that. But I also recently attended my town's comic book convention where I bought another McFarlane Toys DC Direct figure, Captain Marvel. Now, I did a video about the things that I bought at this convention, and so if you're interested in checking that out, I'll leave a link to it up in the corner here. But my initial reaction to this was very pleasant because I bought it for $20 from a vendor, and I just thought it was a rad figure. But I want to do the one that my mom bought me first, Green Lantern. So let me just now, I like the boxes that McFarlane Toys and Hasbro have for their characters, but I just want to quickly do this review. Well, not quickly, but cut to the chase of opening it up and showing you the articulation and sharing my thoughts. So we have a few different accessories. We get the figure, obviously, but then we get two different faces, and then we get a separate hairpiece. Then we get a few different extra hands and the yellow lantern, because at this point, this figure is based on Guy Gardner from the 1990s when he had lost the Green Lantern ring because the Guardians of the Universe deemed him unworthy. So he took Sinestro's ring and lantern, and Sinestro being Green Lantern's arch nemesis, and at this point he was being imprisoned in the central power battery on Oa. So he's like, oh, Sinestro's not using it, I'll take that for myself, and now I can continue being a hero, because he was a member of the Justice League International, and he didn't like the fact that he was deemed unworthy. So he's like, well, screw you, I'll use the weapon of your enemy. Alright, so here he is out of the box. He has Sinestro's ring on his right middle finger, and I'm just gonna bend the elbow into normal, and yeah. And he has a very loud expression on his face, but like I said, he can change the face. So this is his 90s outfit, where he wears a dark leather jacket with his with the G on it, and he's got his signature red bowl cut, blue pants and white gloves and brown boots, and a white shirt with a gray belt. So yeah, I like the colors. They look very cool. The hair color looks nice as well. Skin tone is just a white guy. I can relate to that. And going over the articulation, he has pretty standard, I would say, where he can move his arms around. He has a deltoid joint so he can stretch out. There's a cut at the bicep here where you can spin it around. Double jointed elbows. You can turn his wrist around and bend it. You can turn his head around 360 degrees, look down, look up, put so this is the face plate, which is a separate thing, but this is the one that came on out of the box. Then you can kick his legs out, kick him back, do the splits, double jointed knees. You can point his foot up and down, spin it around, and rock it back and forth to the sides. And there's a cut at the waist where he can spin around. No ab crunch, which, you know, some figures have, others don't, but pretty standard articulation. Then there's a smirking face and a more solemn face, and then there's the extra hands, the extra hairpiece, and the yellow lantern. And also McFarlane toys come with a trading card and a base where you can have the figure standing up properly without falling over, because for some god-forsaken reason the action figure production industry is like, you know what, they don't need to stand on their own 2 feet. But you know, that's just a gripe I have. Now, before we do anything else, I really like I like this figure. I think it's pretty standard. Before I do my rating, I'll do the size comparison, but before I do that, I also want to do the Captain Marvel figure. Also, just before I do that, here's the box again. This includes an exclusive comic book, and again, he has the trading card and base accessories, and he has extra hands, and he has a medallion. Yeah, so I'm trying to be careful opening the box so I don't wreck the comic book, because it does look interesting even though I don't really like modern comics. The cover by Dan Mora looks fantastic. He's one of the few working artists whose work I've broken my rule of to actually read. Because my rule is I don't really like buying new comic books because the industry has hurt me so badly. But, you know, I've bought some of a couple of books that he drew that are a revival of the world's finest comic book series. But this is part of the Dawn of DC initiative that came out last year, I believe, or the year before. Oh, written by Mark Waid, and he also wrote that revival of World's Finest, and he's a great comic book writer. I did a review of his story Kingdom Come, which I'll leave linked, and he's written a lot of Flash stories and some other series as well. But flipping through the comic book, I like the artwork by Mora, and I haven't really had the chance to, and I'm not going to read all of it on camera right now, but obviously Mark Waid is a great writer, so I'm sure I'll love it. But here's Billy playing baseball and Captain Marvel eating ice cream, which is cool. Alright, so here we have the Big Red Cheese out of the box, and I love the colors on this as well, and the face sculpt looks phenomenal. My favorite interpretation of Captain Marvel is Alex Ross, specifically in Kingdom Come, but I love the original by C.C. Beck, and other artists have done fantastic jobs, like Jerry Ordway wrote Andrew the series Power of Shazam in the 90s. He did a great job. George Perez, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Dan Mora with his new work. But Alex Ross is who I imagine, it's his interpretation of Captain Marvel that I imagine, because that one cover from Justice Society where he's like this is iconic in my opinion. But I like how he has a wire cape It's cloth, but it has wires, so you can like extend it. Well, not extend it, but like pose it. So that's really cool. And he has the same articulation, but he has a cut at his under his breasts, so under his pectoral muscles, so he can do an ab crunch. But yeah, moves very well. Again, the double jointed knees. Oh, he also has a hinge for his toes. So that's one way to differentiate. Oh wait, no, Gardner also has that. So let me show that, because I didn't show that during the articulation. But yeah. So they both have it. But I think that this Captain Marvel figure is going to look really good next to my Golden Age Wonder Woman. Oh, and Captain Marvel also has butterfly joints, so he has more range of motion for his arms, which is awesome. And he comes with open palm hands already on, and he has fisted hands that are in the box. But just around, look up, look down, boom, boom, boom. But yeah, now let's cut over to my desk so we can change out the hands and then have them standing up next to each other into other figures, but I'll have them together right now. That looks really cool. I like that. All right, so here they are standing up next to each other, and they look awesome together. So I swapped out Guy's face and hair, and that's a cursed image, and I swapped out his left hand and put the lantern in there, and that looks really cool. And I gave him the smirking face. There's the ring. Then for Captain Marvel, I swapped out his right hand for a fisted hand, and then I put his medallion on. And it was a bit tough putting the head back on, but you know, you just have to finagle it a bit. But I think that they look very, very cool. Now, for the size comparison portion, let's have them standing next to the Hasbro Marvel Legends Hulk from the Incredible Hulk #1. Now, obviously, Hulk is the tallest figure that I own, so he's bigger than them, but when are you going to see these characters standing next to the Hulk? That looks really cool. Then let's have him standing next to the Marvel Legends first appearance Iron Man. And the Marvel Legends is a toy line by Hasbro. I don't know how I feel about Iron Man being shorter than Green Lantern, but this is from a different company, so there is a bit of a difference between the scaling, but that looks cool. There's Iron Man next to them. For a Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series, let's have Darth Vader standing next to them. And although Darth Vader is a pretty tall guy, again, different scaling from different companies, so he is shorter. But again, when are you going to see these characters standing next to each other unless you yourself have them in figure format? And for my final Hasbro figure, I thought it was very apt for me to have the Marvel Legends Captain Marvel from Secret Wars 1984. Just gonna adjust her foot there. But yeah, Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel. Very, very cool. They both have the Buccaneer boots. And here she is next to Green Lantern. Again, cursed images. But it's cool to see them standing next to Monica. Now, circling back to McFarlane DC Direct figures, let's have them standing next to the rival Flash, the Reverse Flash of Earth 2. Captain Marvel is a bit taller, and so is Green Lantern, but that is fine by me. But they look cool together. Let's have them standing next to the Superman from Reign of the Supermen. Now, at this point, Guy Gardner and Superman were uneasy allies because they were both members of the Justice League, but Superman was pretty standoff with the JLI, and Guy Gardner was like, I'm in charge, and Superman's like, no, you're not, doofus. But yeah, and the classic matchup of Superman versus Captain Marvel, although Cap is a bit taller than Superman, but I've always thought that they were on equal footing in terms of height. But that's just my interpretation of it. Then let's have them standing next to the Golden Age Wonder Woman. Very, very cool. She is wearing heels, and she's just about the same height as Captain Marvel, and I think he's the same height as Guy Gardner here, so they're all the same height, which is cool. Although it depends on the version of Wonder Woman, but sometimes she's... In the Golden Age, she was 5 feet 8 inches. Post-Crisis, she was 5'11", and I believe nowadays they have her at 6 foot or 6'1". So it depends on which version of the character you're looking at. Then let's wrap this up with the Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott. Now, Alan and Guy have a rivalry because Guy Gardner thinks that Alan Scott is an old fogey, and Alan thinks that Guy is a hotshot who's immature. And, you can make some parallels with Tom Cruise in Top Gun and Guy Gardner, although technically Hal Jordan was the Air Force pilot, but I mean personality-wise. But seeing all three of these guys stand up next to each other is very cool. I believe they're about the same height, although Captain Marvel does look a little bit taller from this angle that I'm looking at. But, if you really squint and move your head around, they do look a bit roughly the same height. But that's it for the size comparison portion of the video. Overall, I think that these characters are very well crafted, and the painting looks very nice, and they come with a decent amount of accessories. So with that all being said, for Captain Marvel, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. The only thing is that he comes... they stand up very well, and the fact that he does come with a comic book as an accessory does, or as an addition, does boost him up. For Guy Gardner, I think that he's, very well rendered here. The only thing that I find is a downside is the fact that you have to change out different hair and faces. So let me just show you how that works. So, oh jeez. So his hair and face do come off, which is nightmare fuel in and of itself. But I am going to have to rank him a 9 out of 10 because that's just too much nonsense to deal with. So 9 out of 10 for Guy Gardner, 10 out of 10 for Captain Marvel. I think that these are great figures, and I definitely recommend that you buy them. I don't know how much the Guy Gardner figure was because my mom bought it for me as a gift for my birthday. But again, I spent $20 at my local convention for Captain Marvel. It might differ in store and online, but that's how much I paid for it. Full transparency. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video on the National Timely Action Hour. Once again, my name is Hayden. If you enjoyed this video, then click the like button, subscribe if you're new, and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. And share this with your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. And if you want to get more content but don't have time to watch a video, I'll leave a link to my podcast in the description of the video. And please subscribe there, share that with your friends. And also I'll leave a link to my social media profile so you can stay up to date and also send me a message. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and Discord. And I'll also leave a link to my Patreon page and merch store, so if you'd like to support this show financially, I'd greatly appreciate that. At the time of recording, sorry, I'm just checking the date here. At the time of recording, it is the 12th of January 2026, and I have 2 new items up for sale on my merch store. Those are customized t-shirts with my channel's logo on it and quotes. And I have a limited time offer for 1 month. You get 10% off. And they come in black and blue. Two different shirts, but I've got that promotion running. And so if you're interested, I'll leave the link to that in the description as well. But thank you so much for watching, and I sincerely hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye.